from California is recognized.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, and I want to thank the gentleman from Arkansas for yielding to me. I rise in support of my amendment to Division E that would prioritize funding for critically important U.S. Forest Service initiatives to mitigate safety hazards to reopen and rehabilitate the Sequoia National Forest following the devastating SQF complex fire. Giant sequoias are the largest trees in the world. Some tower over 26 stories high and grow wider than a city street. They can only be found growing naturally on the eastern slopes of the Sierra Nevada mountain range in California, including in my district in the Sequoia National Forest. Now, last August, the SQF complex fire burned over 170,000 acres, primarily in the Sequoia National Forest, after being ignited by lightning. A preliminary interagency report led by the National Park Service estimates that this fire killed, and I quote, 10 to 14% of all large sequoias across the tree's natural range in the Sierra Nevada. This translates into an estimated loss of 7,500 to 10,600 large sequoias. In modern history, we know of no other time to have this much devastation. In fact, the 9th largest giant sequoia, the King Arthur tree, is still on fire to this day, almost 1 year later, and may ultimately die because of this fire. These losses are devastating, both environmentally and for the communities. You see, a giant sequoia and a redwood capture more carbon than any other tree. But to communities like Porterville, Three Rivers, Springville, Kernville, and Lake Isabella, they depend on the revenue from tourists coming to see the giant sequoia groves. Following the fire, the U.S. Forest Service closed a large portion of the Sequoia National Forest in Tulare County because of public health and safety concerns, such as falling burned trees and mudslides. Addressing these safety concerns is critical so the forest can be fully reopened as quickly as possible. My amendment supports over $13 million for 3 initiatives in the Sequoia National Forest. First, mitigating public safety hazards so the burned areas can be reopened to the public, promoting ecological restoration activities, and supporting activities to reduce the risk of future catastrophic fires from killing additional giant sequoias. If you check, to this day, they believe there's only 5% of the giant sequoias on Earth still alive. I have spoken with the Sequoia National Forest supervisor and has been assured that all these actions are or will be reviewed under the National Environmental Policy Act and will be conducted consistent with the Giant Sequoia National Monument Management Plan and the Sequoia National Forest Land and Resource Management Plan. These ancient trees, some of which are nearly 2,000 years old, must be protected so they can continue to inspire and amaze future generations. Funding through my amendment would help ensure this so the public can once again see these breathtaking trees. Now, I want to thank Ranking Member Granger and Ranking Member Joyce for their work to protect our natural resources. Now, Mr. Speaker, I also rise in support of my amendment to Division F to prioritize funding for the VA's readjustment benefits according for the Veteran Employment Through Technology Education Courses Program, also called the Vet Tech Program, in the fiscal years 2022. I was very proud to introduce the original Vet Tech Act back in 2017. After learning that veterans could not utilize their GI Bill benefits for non-traditional technology-oriented nanodegrees courses. Now, after speaking with veterans in my congressional district and across this country, it was apparent there was significant demand for the veterans' interest in utilizing the GI Bill benefits for these types of classes. From these conversations, the Vet Tech pilot program, which allows veterans to apply for and enroll in non-traditional, technology-oriented classes, was born. Now, over 2 years into the 5-year Vet Tech private program, I'm proud to say over 3,000 veterans have participated in it. And Mr. Speaker, listen to this. With 90% of the veterans graduating from these programs and 72% attaining employment in the chosen field of study. On average, graduates of the Vet Tech program have an annual starting salary of over $59,000. That's approximately $25,000 more than the average salary in the United States. Now, since its launch in 2019, over 44,000 veterans have applied to participate in the Vet Tech pilot program. That's far outstripping current funding. These numbers paint a clear picture. Vet Tech is a popular and successful program, and I believe that Congress should fund this program at its fullest authorized level of $45 million in fiscal year 2022, which my amendment seeks to do. Even with this funding, the VA estimates it will need $80 million more for this program to keep up with the current demand. I look forward to working with my colleagues in the House to increase the Vet Tech program's authorization in the future. Think about that, Mr. Speaker. Here's men and women who served their country. They can use a GI Bill for a non-traditional technology, classes. In today's world, that's the workforce we need. They jump ahead. They get paid more than the average American. But the desire and the need and the applications are much greater than we fund. I think we have a responsibility here. Now, I want to thank House Veterans Affairs Committee Ranking Member Bost, Congresswoman Miller Meeks, and Congressman Akana for joining me in offering this amendment and for tirelessly advocating for the Vet Tech program. I also want to thank Ranking Member Granger and Ranking Member Carter for their work to support our nation's veterans. Mr. Speaker, I yield back the balance of my time.
The gentleman from Arkansas reserves. Gentlelady from Connecticut is recognized.
Mr. Speaker, I yield 2 minutes to the gentleman from Louisiana, Mr. Carter.
Gentleman from Louisiana is recognized.
Mr. Speaker, Madam Chair, Ranking Member, I rise today with a bipartisan amendment to protect our coast in Louisiana. I'm proud to be joined by my fellow Louisianans in offering it today.